Hey guys, how's it going? We got a little interesting thing to talk about today. Also, I got a haircut. It's slightly too long in the front and starting to look like Vanoss. Minus the part that I'm not an Asian man. Asian Canadian? Is he Canadian or American? So, as you guys know, about a year ago, I started my 454 build, which really hasn't even evolved past tearing down the engine yet, which you can check out the link up here. Finger's not in the screen. But the reason why I haven't done a ton of videos on actually taking apart the block and getting into the machine shop is I realized if I finish that engine first, that's going to tear up my old transmission and differential. Now, you guys have already seen a video about the differential. I haven't had time to review it yet because still got to get through the break-in process. So it's going to take probably a month or so before I'm able to make a video about that. But what I can make a video about now is my very, very specialized transmission and a whole lot of weird stuff that I did to it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I know my room's a mess. I have like 5 cubic private feet to myself now. Remember, I'm in college. I have a bunch of roommates, which I'm sure are getting sick of me making these videos. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so to start off, let me say, I did not personally build this transmission. That is way out of my depth. I'm struggling enough learning the engine as is, and I'd rather have the absolute insurance that a professional builder has when they build a transmission for you. So, if something goes wrong, I can know it's with the engine and not with the transmission or the differential. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me get back there to record, but they did give me a few tips. Before I get to those, let's get into what my plans were. So, first plan. For the longest time, I was considering, should I go manual transmission or should I go an automatic transmission? Now, to some of you guys will say, oh, do manual. It's the fastest, it's the best thing out there. I put the shifter up my butthole. But it's not really as cut and dry like that. Now, don't get me wrong, in the old days, manual were faster, but nowadays, they're a lot more neck and neck. So, let's go over the pros and cons about both. So, manual, no torque converter, so you get a little bit more horsepower out of it. You also have full control over your transmission, 100%. You have clutch, you can control what gear you're in, even though that's kind of in automatics now. And overall, it's way better for track, circle track, regular track, like Laguna Seca, pretty much anything. It's good for that kind of stuff. However, on automatic transmissions, you have ease of driving, way easier in stop and go traffic. Shifting is extremely quick, and yes, I know that some of you guys are like,
oh, well, if you practice at manual, then you can shift quicker.
Yeah, well, guess what? I can shift about just as fast or quicker than the best manual shifter, and I don't even got to take my foot off the pedal. So, you tell me what's easier. And because it shifts quicker, it's generally a much better idea for drag racing, which is mostly what I want to do with my car. But there's something so cool about rolling through the gears, so I did what any man would do. Man, I just wish there was a way to have a manual transmission, but also an automatic transmission.
¿Por qué no las dos?
So I walked up to my transmission builder and I said, hey, what can I do? And he told me something that I actually was not aware of. There is a way to have kind of the best of both worlds in most cases. So what I have now is a TH400, which is a very robust, very strong and proven transmission, automatic. Basically, I can have a manual valve body. Now, what that means, I'm not exactly sure, but the answer that most of you guys are curious about is the transmission does not shift itself. However, it handles everything from the actual shifting mechanism. There's no clutch, there's no anything like that. You put it in second, it's gonna go in second. You put it in third, it's gonna go in third. No safety measures, no BS, no nothing like that. Which could be very useful if I wanted to take the Buick to a track day and still make it very, very streetable, while still being able to shift, which I really appreciate that. So of course, my first decision was, obviously I'm gonna go with the bastard love child of a TKO 600 and a TH400.
Oh, TKO 600-san!
Domo arigato, TH400.
Oh gosh, is that racist? That feels racist.
I understand our love can never be.
I also understand, but let's make this a night to remember.
Take me, TKO 500!
Oh, is that racist? That felt a little racist. That didn't feel good. Please don't cancel me. So, obviously, I went with the manual valve body route. However, maybe you could throw in another transmission to that weird orgy thing going on now.
Yo, what's up?
I realized that, while I have the chance, I might as well put some straight cut gears in this thing. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Straight cut gears are a little different from what you got in your transmission. For some of you guys that have a little bit older cars, like in the 90s, you'll notice that when you reverse, your transmission will have like a light sound effect. I figured, you know what? That sounds awesome. I want it in my car. I'll only get it in first gear, but it'll sound awesome in first gear. So for those of you guys that don't know what straight cut gears are, regular transmissions have helical gears where they kind of mesh like that. Their contact is way longer. Whereas straight cut gears, they hit tooth by tooth by tooth. You see what I mean? Helical, they stay into contact a little bit longer. Straight cut, just all at once. Now, the downside to this is that your transmission is going to shift a lot firmer and it's going to be a lot louder. The upside is because there's way less actual loading, you actually get a much cooler transmission, which for race applications, that's actually really useful. Now, I don't know if it'll give back any horsepower or anything like that, but if anything, it's negligible. Ultimately, it's made for transmission longevity, as well as just kind of semi-strength in general. So yeah, my transmission is now the bastard love child of a TH475, a TH400, and a TKO 600. However, when I was getting that transmission built, I was like, oh shoot, hang on. My car's on the column. I mean, it could work to have a column shifter, but it's a lot harder to shift in general. So I decided, you know what? I am going to just say screw it and go for a floor shifter. I already got the bucket seats in anyways. Why not? So eventually I settled on a Winters performance shifter. Now this thing is awesome. Basically, it reads like an automatic transmission, except instead of drive, it has 1, 2, and 3. So it's perfect for a 3-speed. But the good thing is it has blockers in every gear. So it's kind of hard to explain. So I'll just pop a picture up right now. If I shove it to second, it's going to run into that metal bar and it won't go further. To shove it in the third, I gotta push it left, then push it upwards, which not any faster than a manual transmission, let's be honest. But I love that because it's one less thing that I have to worry about when I'm shifting, because I can just slam it and forget about it. That's all I gotta do. And it's actually really useful, especially when you're learning your car's shift points, because my car's shift points is very different now and I have to learn it all. Now, enough of my yammering. Here's a video of the car actually shifting. Torquier than I remember. Right, straight cut. As you can see, from first to second, it shifts very hard. There's only a very small area in the RPM that you can shift at where it's a lot like looser, but I don't have a tachometer, which I'm working on getting right now. So I'm kind of just playing it by ear. But second and third is a way easier shift unless you do it at way too low RPM. So generally around 2,500 RPM, the shifting is very smooth. Everything else is like thunk, 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 which is actually not a bad thing, because that means that it's shifting into place. So how a regular automatic transmission works is you go into neutral for like a split second before shifting, and then you go into the next gear. It makes for a way smoother shift. At least that's how it was explained to me. I'm just passing on information. If you do know a better way to describe it, please do it down below. I will pin your comment, as long as you're not a jerk about it. But how my transmission goes now is immediately it's like, oh, you're in third? I'll give you third. I'm getting too hyped up. So if you want a daily driver, it's not very fun. But me, I like the feeling of shifting through gears because it's just fun. And I feel like Vin Diesel.
Family.
So overall, I'm very happy with the way my transmission came out. Now, usually I don't make update videos like this. I usually prefer to have a little bit more footage, but I digress. That's all I can really do right now because I'm also about to head off on like a little trip with the girlfriend. But yeah, overall, 10 out of 10. If you're ever in the Central Valley area and you want to go to Transmissions by Hal, great place to get your transmission built. They're strong. They built monster truck transmissions, so I'm fairly confident that transmission will handle over 1,000 horsepower. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.